I-MK Party ithi ngeke ilubhade ephalamende uma iphalamende selihlangene okokuqala ngoLwesihlanu ngehora leshumi ekuseni. Lokhu kuza emva kokuba ijaji uChief Justice Zondo ememezele uLwesihlanu njengelanga la iphalamende lizohlangana khona okokuqala, emva kokuba amaqembu esethumelile uhlu lwamalungu azowamela ephalamende. Iphalamende liphinde lakhansela zonke izindiza kanye namagumbi obekuhlelelwe i-MK Party, emva kokuba ummeli we-MK Party ethumele incwadi eshoyo ukuthi bona ngeke beze ephalamende.
Well, this is the big story of the day. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has announced that the first sitting of the National Assembly will take place on Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning. This will be the first sitting of Parliament after the recent 2024 elections in which no party received an outright majority. Now, this comes days after Zondo officially received the lists of members heading to the National Assembly and the provincial legislatures and handed them over to the Secretary of Parliament. The Chief Justice will preside over the first sitting, which will swear in members of the National Assembly. The sitting will also see the election of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, as well as the election of the President. Now, earlier, Parliament cancelled all flights and accommodation arrangements for MK Party members in light of the party informing the institution that they will not attend the first sitting.
The parliamentary administration is in the process of making arrangements to provide travel and accommodation for all members listed by the IEC as handed over by the Chief Justice to attend these sittings and the associated onboarding activities scheduled in Cape Town. In light of the MK Party's express decision through their legal representatives not to attend the first sittings, Parliament has cancelled all arrangements for accommodation and flights for the party's elected members. This measure is to avoid incurring fruitless and wasteful expenditure.
Well, this comment from Judges Meta Mbegezeli Benjamin says MK Party's absence will not stop Parliament's first sitting.
Section 53 of the Constitution says that the quorum of the National Assembly, for it to pass laws, to pass bills, it must be 50% plus one. So that means you need 201 members. But for any other business, including the election of the Speaker, election of the President, whether you're noting condolences or congratulations, you need a third of the members of the National Assembly, and a third is about 134 members. So the bottom line is whether the members of MK attend on a particular day or they don't attend, the members of the National Assembly who do attend will be enough for the National Assembly to continue with its business. And so that is where it ends. There is no other interpretation beyond that.
All right, now let's bring in our Parliament reporter, Bulelani Philip, now on these latest developments. Bulelani, good afternoon to you. Of course, this is the big story of the day, a date we've been waiting for. It has now been pronounced by the Chief Justice to this Friday. Just talk to us about the process that we are likely to see on Friday. Of course, we know that this is the first sitting, of Parliament since those elections where no party received an outright majority.
Good afternoon to you, Unati, and to the viewers at home. I can confirm that at around 15:10, we did receive a communication from the Office of the Chief Justice where he indicated that the first sitting of the National Assembly will be done on Friday. You must remember again that following the declaration of the election results, he did also issue a gazette that talks to the rules that will be governing the sittings of both the National Assembly as well as the National Council of Provinces. In fact, including the provinces, provincial legislatures. So those rules are in place and they will have to be met with. And in terms of provinces, the sittings of the first provincial legislatures must be presided over by the presiding judge, who is going to be the head of a particular province. Now, in this particular situation where the Chief Justice has announced the sitting, we already know and we've already received information that this sitting is going to be sitting at the Cape Town International Convention Center, because Parliament, again, is also still in the process of rebuilding its structures after the 2022 fire. So because Parliament has been, going around looking for accommodation, probably this time around they've decided against the Cape Town City Hall, but they've chosen the Cape Town International Convention Center. But what is significant here, Unathi, I must say, is that this is very significant because we have not yet heard about the modalities of the government of national unity. So by the Chief Justice, him declaring a date, it means that political parties, particularly the ANC, has to make an announcement about the people or the political parties that are going to be part and parcel of this government of national unity. But for now, we don't know who is going to be forming part of that, because that is a decider in terms of the people or the political parties that will vote in favor or against any person that is nominated as the President of the Republic of South Africa. Now, also what we do know as well is that the DA's Federal Council, which is the second biggest party that was won the vote, is also concluding its meeting of today. But they've also just indicated a short while ago that that meeting is going to go on up until tomorrow. So up until the time where we know whether the ANC has found political parties that they can work with, it's very difficult for us to be able to analyze how this sitting is going to go about.
And that's very important. I mean, you mentioned key factors there in terms of just how significant, Friday's sitting is going to be, particularly because of the outcome of this particular election, Bulelani. And of course, a lot of questions. And those questions are going to be centered around the ANC and its decision, as you've rightfully said. And one wonders then, between now and Thursday at the very least, what are we likely to see from the ANC? A lot of people have actually suggested that, in fact, the processes in these coalition talks be made transparent so that, at the very least, that South Africans know what is currently transpiring, Bulelani. And another key, factor is, of course, to see if the Chief Justice will respond to those political parties, 6, I believe, who have approached or written a letter, at least, to the Chief Justice, asking for the Chief Justice to facilitate these conversations and these talks. I think what they want to see is, if a government of national unity is formed, that at least all 18 parties that will be sitting in the National Assembly following these elections be included in this government.
Look, Unathi, the letter that has been directed to the Chief Justice that encompasses a lot of opposition parties who are complaining about this issue of the government of national unity, I think it's misplaced, because the Chief Justice cannot encroach on the issue of the legislature, because he is one of 3 arms of the state. And for those parties, I think it was misinformed. Yeah, that's the point that we need to just underscore. They do not have any right, or they do not have any credence of being able to write to the Chief Justice, because they are seemingly asking the Chief Justice to intervene in issues that relate to the issue of the legislature. And I don't think that, for me, from where I speak and from my experience, that thing can be solved. The second point, Unathi, that we need to also underscore is that in terms of the rules of the National Assembly, those rules have already been published by the Chief Justice in terms of how he is going to preside over the House sitting. And for parties that want to boycott the sitting, there's 2 distinctions that we need to make here. Is that anybody who wants to make a political program or to boycott the House, there's two distinctions here. That you cannot boycott a House that you have not been elected or been sworn into. So, in other words, if you want to have an objection to something that you are not part of, it's very wrong of you to do that. So, until a person has been sworn in as a member of the National Assembly, it's only when then their authority or their credence is able to be applicable. Now, if you have not been sworn in, it means that you can use other remedies. And unfortunately, in this constitutional democracy that we live in, is that anybody has got a right to go and seek a legal remedy when it comes to issues that they don't feel comfortable about. And in this instance, the Mkhonto weSizwe Party is seeking a legal review on that. But even that legal review does not stop the processes of Parliament unless they seek a court interdict. So for now, as we stand, those processes of Parliament of Friday, of the swearing in of members, the election of the Speaker, election of the Deputy Speaker, and the election ultimately of the President will continue unless there is a court interdict. But secondly, the argument that they raise around the issue of they are going to boycott that sitting, the analysis or the legal analysis that we get, at least from the Council of Protection of Constitution of South Africa through Lawson Naidoo, is saying that the Constitution of the National Assembly in its first sitting, it requires only a 1/3 majority. Now, the suppression of 59 members of MK will not have any bearing whether the House sits or not. So, in terms of the quorum that has to be there, it's around about 134 people.
Yeah.
So, the issue of MK people or MK MPs elect that are not going to be able to participate, it means that it renders their presence or non-presence irrelevant.
Bulelani, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much. And of course, as Bulelani is saying, one wonders then what will happen in as far as the MK party is concerned, following Parliament also deciding that it has cancelled its the members' flights as well as accommodation, and those are 58 MK party members that will then not be compensated by Parliament. Of course, this as the party threatens court action if the first sitting of the National Assembly goes ahead on a Friday. And I'm seeing my colleague Natasha Puri also mentioning here that the expelled MK party founder Jabulani Khumalo indicating that he will go ahead and attend Parliament's first sitting. So a lot of developments, a number of moving parts within this particular story as we look at what will transpire then on the 14th of this month, on Friday, when the first sitting of the National Assembly goes ahead. So we'll continue then to get analysis and also look at political parties and what they decide in terms of forming that government of national unity.